Yeah, we have to. That's what I've already told. Yeah. Excuse me, please be seated. Again, we have over 200 people that would like to address us this evening. We will not get to them without your cooperation. Please be seated, commissioners as well. Please. Speaker number Purple 55, you are getting ready, but I'd like to ask the crowd to calm down and be seated. Commissioners, we do have over 200 people that would like to address us this evening. In that regard, I would ask that you please limit your questions, or actually not have any of them at this point. So please, Speaker number 55, are you ready? Please, ladies and gentlemen, please be courteous to each other. Appreciate it.
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Lawrence Hilliard. My wife just spoke to you previously.
Shh.
I'm a...
Please, sir, more than one. Please start over. We'll start your time.
Okay. My name is Lawrence Hilliard. My wife just spoke to you. I'm a 31-year resident of Long Beach, and I'm here to speak to you about the Long Beach PRT boundaries for the congressional districts. And, I would like to request that the lines include Compton, Carson as part of Long Beach. This is necessary because we have 40% of the cargo that comes to the United States comes through the cities in that area. They come over the 47 highway, the 110, the 710, the 405 freeway from the ports of Long Beach and LA. And, I live right there on the west side next to the 710 freeway. And the traffic and the air quality and all the related challenges associated with the port affect my kids directly from the schools, and my neighbors right across the street in Carson are affected by the same things. And so as I was at the Long Beach meeting, and we talked about the numbers for the district, and basically adding the ports of LA and Long Beach to the current district got us to the 702,000 that we needed to make the district meet the requirements. And so I was surprised to see that the district was redrawn to the east, and that we added Cypress and Cerritos, cities that don't have anything in common with the concerns of the people in the area, and took out the cities that are concerned with all the pollution and problems that go along with the ports and the freeways. As my wife spoke, we were all duped by the Alameda Corridor also. I used to drive the freeways in that area. I worked in Carson at the Northrop Grumman facility there before I moved to Azusa. And I fought that traffic every day and wrestled with those trucks every morning and thinking, well, if they spend this $2 or $3 billion to build this Alameda Corridor, we won't have this problem anymore. And now I drive the 710 to the 91 to the 605 to the 210, and I'd fight those trucks every single day of the week. And so I understand the problems associated with that, and I feel like the people in that area should be included with one representative so that the challenges that they face will be addressed, instead of dealing with folks in, not that I have anything against folks in Cypress and Cerritos and those areas. They just don't have the same concerns socioeconomically and with the pollution and associated problems with the port area. So I think the original map should be gone back to and add the ports of LA and Long Beach to.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Speaker number 56.
Hello, my name is Lori Cohn, and I want to thank you for the opportunity to speak today. I'm going to be addressing the Senate map LASCV Santa Clarita, and then following up with the Assembly map, Thousand Oaks to Santa Monica Mountains and West Side Santa Monica. So those are the two maps. First, let me commend you on your efforts to create fair districts. I appreciate the hours you spent on the complicated task you have before you. I'm speaking as co-director of Save LA River Open Space, a nonprofit organization in Studio City committed to preserving open space abutting the Los Angeles River. Our group is engaged with people and organizations from all over Southern California. I'm also a resident and own property in Studio City in the San Fernando Valley. We're very disturbed by the June 10th first draft for the following reasons. It split Studio City in half, mainly along Ventura Boulevard. Studio City is a small unincorporated city of Los Angeles. It's split between LASCV and LADNT. The part of Studio City that is in LADNT is south of Ventura Boulevard to Mulholland Drive, placing it in a Senate district with downtown Los Angeles, with which it has no community of interest. Studio City should remain whole in Senate, Assembly, Congressional, and Board of Equalization districts. It should remain in the same districts with which it shares a community of interest, including its neighbors along the Ventura Corridor, Sherman Oaks, Encino, Valley Village, Tarzana, Calabasas, Woodland Hills, Agora Hills, and Westlake Village on the north side of the Santa Monica Mountains, and the cities on the south side of the Santa Monica Mountains, the south side of Mulholland Drive. These cities include Beverly Hills, Bel Air, Brentwood, Palisades, Malibu, Santa Monica, and west to Ventura County. We see no commonality between our areas running along the Santa Monica Mountains to the coast and the new northern part of the district shown on the June 10th maps, including Santa Clarita and Lake Castaic. Those are beautiful areas, but would be better suited to be in shared districts across the North Valley. The simplest way to accomplish all of the above is by nesting the two assembly districts assigned on June 10th draft maps as Thousand Oaks, Santa Monica Mountains, and West Side Santa Monica into one Senate district. These two districts include Studio City in its entirety, the cities along Ventura Boulevard Corridor, the 101 and the 405 freeways, and the cities on the south side of Mulholland, all of which share our true community of interest.
Thank you. We do have your materials. Appreciate it. Speaker number 57. Speaker number 58, Purple 58.
Hi, Commissioners. My name is Megan, and I am a part of the group Young Professionals for Better Government. I also graduated with a degree in political science last year, so I've really enjoyed observing this process from the beginning. Oh, sorry about that. My name's Megan, if you didn't hear that. I have attended a number of your hearings in LA County, but this is my first time testifying, so I'm a little nervous, but I'm excited to be finally participating. My colleague Ken Kieselbach met with you in Oakland and submitted our state Senate plan for LA County on behalf of our community of young professionals and recent graduates. Additionally, he submitted our video Roadmap LA County, which I believe that you've all received, but it can also be found on our website, yp4bettergov.org, just in case you want to watch it again. As discussed in our video and by Ken, it's critical that you respect the Voting Rights Act, especially in light of South LA, as well as environmental and coastal communities. And I live in Torrance, and I think that you did this very well for each of my districts. That said, this Saturday in Fullerton, we'll be submitting an assembly map to address our outstanding concerns. And I also just want to thank you all again for your time and effort, and I really wish you the best of luck with the rest of the process. And that's all.
Thank you. Thank you. Speaker number Purple 58. Oh, that was you. Sorry. Okay. Speaker Purple 59.
Hello. My name is Jim Deere, and I serve the people of Carson as their mayor. I want to thank all of you for the hard work that you are doing. I understand you started your meeting at 10 o'clock today, and my meeting last night started at 5, ended at 2:45 this morning, so I can relate. And I really appreciate what you're doing, and the people of the state of California appreciate it. One thing that is very important is that you're listening to all the people in the room. We are the citizens of California, as you are, and we know that we want this city to, the state to move into the future in the right way, and your actions are going to do that. City of Carson is the most ethnically diverse city in the entire state of California, and we're very proud of that. Our assembly members have been African American, followed by Latino, followed by Asian American. Our city council has, of the 7 elected officials, 4 women, 3 are men, 2 are African American, 2 are Latino, 2 are Asian, and 1 is European American. And we want you to consider this concept, the concept of a holistic, multi-ethnic approach to assembly districts, Senate districts, and congressional districts. Districts where anyone of any ethnic background has a chance of winning. That's the future of this country, certainly the future of our state. So all politics being local, as you know, we are the people who know these areas. And I want to bring your attention to the Carson, Wilmington, Harbor area. This city of Carson is a community that we want to keep together. We don't want it to be split. But I want to give you two tools to utilize when you make your analysis. First, the school district boundaries have a great deal to do with communities of interest, as well as your unemployment rates from federal statistics. If you look at those unemployment rates in different communities, you can match them together so you will not have people complaining, saying, and groaning and saying, well, why you put this community with that community? Those are the tools that you can use to do your job, and I appreciate you utilizing both of them.
Thank you very much, Mayor.
Okay? Thank you.
Can you?
Brief, please. We've asked to refrain, but...
Oh, okay, that's okay.
Okay, I apologize. Speaker number 60.
Hi, my name is Lydia Gutierrez, and if you would please put on congressional map for the South Bay area, I would appreciate it. My name is Lydia Gutierrez, and I'm from Coastal San Pedro Neighborhood Council. I am on the NAACP of Compton. I am the National Committee Woman for the Republican Hispanic Assembly. But I am not looking at this as a racial issue. I'm looking at it socioeconomic and community balance. I am asking you to look at San Pedro. We are the heart and soul of the International Port of Los Angeles. San Pedro is a port city, but yet every new drawn district in the Assembly, Senate, and the Congressional, we are separated from the harbor. What is being taken is our voice, completely away. We are the ones confronted with the smog from the cargo ships, the pollution in our beaches, and the traffic from our cruise ships. What I'm suggesting is that in the congressional area that we take out the West Hollywood, Beverly Hills, Santa Monica, Marina del Rey, Westchester, and I do believe that for the socioeconomic balance that I believe is needed is that it is connected with that Inglewood area, and when taking that part up, going from El Segundo down to San Pedro, taking in Wilmington, Harbor Gateway with the Lomita, Hawthorne, and Linwood area, Gardena area, that would give us our balance. And I would like to strongly ask you to consider both in the Assembly and Senate, please do not separate San Pedro from the heart. I mean, this is our bread and butter, and you've separated us completely from our own. 90% of the businesses live in San Pedro that have businesses in the harbor. My father was a longshoreman, and we have no voice completely. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Salazar, will you please ask if anybody still requires your services for interpreting?
¿Hay alguna persona que necesitará hablar ante la Junta que tenga número que hable español solamente? Apparently not.
Okay. If nobody requires the assistance of an interpreter, we will excuse Mr. Salazar, but it doesn't look like anybody requires one. So thank you very much, Mr. Salazar. Speaker number 61. Purple 61.
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Jessica Correa. I am from East LA. I was born, raised, and educated there. I went to Garfield High School. And my concern is that the era of odd-shaped gerrymandered districts featuring odd pairings of communities is not over. In your initial draft, you have proposed a district lumping together Hollywood Hills, Los Feliz, Silver Lake, and East LA. I think it is more than evident that economical disparities exist between these communities, which lead to these communities facing different issues. Therefore, the lines that have been drawn cross the LA River and dart around downtown LA, making the district bizarrely shaped, as we can see. The East LA State Assembly District, as initially drafted, is a farce. It makes the district impossible to govern for whomever is elected. it will always result in one half or the other feeling completely left out of the process. It is shaped illogically. Keeping it as it is drafted will let down everyone in those communities. Thank you.
Thank you. Speaker number 61, or excuse me, 62.
Hello, my name is Salvador. This is Sandra. We're both also residents of East LA, and we would like to echo the remarks that the previous speaker just talked about. We also believe that East LA should not be lumped together with Hollywood Hills, Silver Lake, and Los Feliz. We believe that it doesn't make much sense to lump together some of the most wealthiest communities with one of the poorest communities. Seems to be a conflict of interest. And we also believe that by breaking up parts of East LA, you're breaking up Latinos and you're weakening the Latino vote. Thank you.
Thank you. Speaker number 63. And if purple speakers number 64 and 65 will come forward in the reserved seats, we'd appreciate it.
Hello. Thank you for your time that you're spending with all of us. I'm just a housewife. I don't represent anybody, and I'm going to take you to a different part of the map tonight. I'm from Pasadena. I lived there 35 years, and I was born and raised in Burbank. And I came here because when I saw the maps that were originally drawn, I got so upset that you split Pasadena up and South Pasadena up. I live in Pasadena. My kids went to a Catholic school in La Cañada, and my kids played sports both for their school and for the city of Pasadena. And they went all over these little cities that I'm going to propose to you should be in our congressional district. I think our congressional district should be a combination of Altadena, Arcadia, Burbank, Glendale, La Cañada, La Crescenta, Monrovia, Montrose, Pasadena, San Marino, Sierra Madre, and South Pasadena. That's where this whole area, we have main streets that connect us. I could go to any of those cities without taking the freeway. We have good freeway access to those streets. Any of us who live in like Pasadena, we go to all these cities to shop, to dine. You know, our kids play sports there, whatever. And when I saw the map that you guys did, it just got me in gear to come out here and speak my voice. I apologize. I've never been to one of these things. I came with one sheet that a friend of mine here put together. I'm going to give that to you. I would have come with 14 copies had I known. I apologize for that. But just another thing that you all could relate to. The Tournament of Roses is in Pasadena. And if you're like trying out to be the queen, for example, the girls have to go to any of those schools, of those cities that I just mentioned. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Speaker number 64.
My name is Elaine Clark, and I was born in Pasadena and have lived in Altadena since 1960. I consider Pasadena and Altadena as one contiguous community. The maps that you have presented remove Altadena totally out of the Pasadena area, even though Altadena is a bedroom community for Pasadena. Altadena children attend Pasadena schools, Pasadena City College. I did. Altadena does not have a shopping district. I have to shop in Pasadena. My church is in Pasadena. I go out to eat in Pasadena. I do my marketing in Pasadena. Take my clothes to the cleaners in Pasadena. My water comes from Pasadena. Pasadena tells me that we have drought conditions, and I can only water on certain days and hours. The Pasadena Star News is my local newspaper. You have placed Altadena into an assembly district which stretches from Santa Clarita to Upland. The only thing all those foothill communities have in common is exactly that, the foothills. I can't get to any of them easily without first going to Pasadena. I don't have any community interests with most of those communities, and yet you have tied Altadena to it. We need to be represented in Sacramento by someone who will understand and represent the total natural community involved. That community is contiguously Altadena, Pasadena, South Pasadena, San Marino, Arcadia, Monrovia, and so forth. I have a small packet I'd like for you to look at. I, too, didn't think about bringing 14, and for that I am sorry. However, please, you must reconnect Altadena to Pasadena. Thank you.
Thank you. And as a matter of disclosure, I do know Miss Clock, and I've known her for the past year in mutual clubs and organizations. Good to see you, Elaine. Speaker number 65.
Good evening. My name is Dan Maljanian, and I'm a resident of Altadena as well. If you please put that map back up there. California chose this commission to get away from gerrymandering, and we didn't want it, one set of gerrymanderers to be replaced by another set of gerrymanderers. If you look at that map again, our district that Altadena is a part of goes all the way from Santa Clarita in the far northwest to Rancho Cucamonga in the east. You have included 3 different valleys into one district, one set of districts. It takes an hour and a half to possibly 2 hours to drive from one side to the other, and you have to be on freeways which are outside of our district most of the way to get there. How anybody could run for office in that district, I don't know. And I pointed out that you have to leave the district to get across it. I have looked at some of the other districts you've drawn, and it seems that you have taken a lot of race into account, and I don't think that race should trump communities. I think our communities are important. I happen to be of Armenian background, and we do not need an Armenian district. We don't need an Asian district or all these other ethnic districts. We need communities. We elected an Armenian governor in this state without a constituency for him, and I don't think that we need to create districts that look to race above community. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Speaker number 66, Purple 66.
Hi. This is my first time here, too. My name is Gail Adams. I'm from Altadena also. And although I do appreciate your placing all these communities that have activities and hike and use the San Gabriel Mountains next to the San Gabriel Mountains in the same district, you've made some very bad mistakes, I'm afraid. Yes, you split Pasadena. Pasadena is the hub of the area. If you live in San Marino, or you live in La Cañada, or you live in even Sierra Madre, Altadena, definitely, you go down to Pasadena to eat, to be entertained, to shop. That is the heart of the whole area. You cannot divide it. And then on the other side, in your effort to make this one huge area, at the very top, you take a look at the top of all 3 of the maps, you have 2 communities, Acton and Agua Dulce. Both of these are affected by the mountains. When those mountains burn, they have to evacuate. You are not allowing them to have any say-so about the mountains. Would you please divide that area? Give the watershed that goes into the area on both sides of 14 to the people of Acton and Agua Dulce, and give us back our communities. We need to have all of Monrovia, all of Pasadena, all of these cities that are connected in the foothills together. We are a community in total. Thank you.
Thank you. Speaker number 67. And if speakers Purple 68 and 69 would come forward to the reserved seats.
My name is Brian Fuller, and like the previous speakers, I'm a resident of Altadena. I born in Pasadena, though, and I'm 7th-generation Californian, and I've found that Pasadena is a wonderful area to live. I would tell visitors who ask where I come from, I don't say I'm from Altadena, I say from Pasadena, because that is the home of the Tournament of Roses. I'd like to, don't want to repeat, but I'd like you to take a look at South Pasadena. You have divided this town which ironically is a town that did not want to be divided by the 710 freeway, but you've done it politically. And South Pasadena, the southern part of it, you've included it with Alhambra. That's like Cain and Abel being put together in the same room. Alhambra and South Pasadena should not be in the same district whatsoever. They are on polar opposites regarding that freeway. So I think you really ought to look into that and fix that immediately. The other factor is that as a resident of Altadena, I'm surrounded by Pasadena. So I think it's a little bit unfortunate that if I want to go hiking in Eaton Canyon or Arroyo Seco, I'm having to go to another assembly district. Also, you have JPL, which has a bit of an identity crisis. It doesn't know whether it's in Pasadena or La Cañada. And so therefore, you have a situation where you have two different assembly districts there as well. I seriously suggest to you that we should have our cities intact, and I'm very concerned that Pasadena has been divided into two congressional districts, likely due to an attempt to create a majority Asian district that stretches all the way to Diamond Bar. How are you going to navigate from Diamond Bar to Pasadena is I don't know how you're going to do it. I think the 210 and the 134 should be a good structure to have communities on both sides of that freeway tied together, and I think you'll have a nice, oval, compact district that respects all ethnicities and all viewpoints equally, and I thank you for your time.
Thank you. Speaker number 68, Purple 68.
Thank you. I spoke to you in the meeting in San Fernando. My name's David Gerald. I'm 67 years old, and I've lived in the San Fernando Valley all my life. Could we look at the congressional district for the West Valley? What you've done here, if I understand this correctly, is you've got I had asked you or recommended that you use the 405 as the eastern boundary. Yeah. What you've got is this peninsula heading into the west side of the 405. And while I understand you have to have your population limits, what you've done there is the western edge of that little pointer or whatever it is, doesn't work. You're splitting up the community of Reseda and Northridge, and all those communities in there have nothing I shouldn't say nothing, but don't have enough in common to be considered part of the same community to the east side of the 405. Whereas the west side of the 405 is a distinct community, and the east side is a distinct set of communities. So now, I don't know where you're going to be able to manipulate this to, if you move that back to the 405, I don't know where you're going to take population away. But what you've got in that red area doesn't belong connected with what you have on the east side of the 405. So thank you very much, and I respectfully request that you consider that in your tweaking of the maps. Thank you.
Thank you. Speaker number Purple 69. I'm sorry, you said. Okay. 70, 71, 72 aren't here. 70. Purple 73? Purple 74? Okay. And then if speakers Purple 75 and 76, maybe 77. We've got 4 seats up here that are open. You can come sit in the front reserve seats. I'm sorry, Miss Sargis, what number? 74. Yes. Thank you, sir. If you can pull down the microphone in front.
I'm shorter, yes. Good evening. My name is Joe Halper. I'm a resident of the Pacific Palisades. I want to address you on a specific issue of Senate District. Your designation is LASCV. Can you get that up? Thank you. Is that it? No. Yeah, we're coming. That particular district, Senate District, runs from Malibu, the coastline, all the way up to a Kern County line. That's about 90 miles. In my earlier career, I was the head of the county park system, and I had to get around to Vasquez Rocks Park, and that would take a whole day, and I would hitchhike a ride with fire department helicopter when I could do that. So that really needs some relook. The other, but I do have a suggestion for you in this regard. There is the two assembly districts, LA-MWS and LA-VSF, represent an area of community interest, and I'm asking you if you would consider that those two assembly districts as a nesting for a Senate district, which I think would work out very well. In keeping with the Redistricting Commission's criteria to use new assembly district boundaries encompassing the West Side, Santa Monica, and the Thousand Oaks, Santa Monica Mountains as a district to reflect the interconnecting communities. Based on the aforementioned consideration, it is requested that the Commission reconsider the proposed boundaries for the Senate district, currently designated as LASCV.
Thank you very
much.
Thank you. Speaker number Purple 75.
Hello, my name is Deborah Reed. I am the founder of Jonathan Reed Family Rights Coalition. Our organization works on issues related to child welfare. I work with families in South Los Angeles and the South Bay cities. I depend on the support of these cities to carry out the mission of our coalition. I have spent many hours educating community leaders about the problems facing families with children in the foster care system. Inglewood is a part of the DCFS SPA resource services shared with other communities in South Los Angeles and the South Bay community. Communities in close proximity of each other's are able to share resources with those in the same common area. The dividing of South Los Angeles and South Bay cities may also divide needed family resources. It would be harmful to the work that many do in this area to divide the needed resources to the communities of Hawthorne, Gardena, and Lawndale from Inglewood, in which, as I said, we do share the resources which we apply to the families.
Thank you. Speaker number 76. Purple 76.
Thank you, Madam Chair and members of the Commission. My name is Robert Pullen Miles. I'm a Lawndale City Council member. I'm here tonight to express my concern regarding the proposed map for our congressional district, which is District 35. Under the current congressional boundaries, the City of Lawndale is grouped with communities that share the same interests. LAX, for one, which has a profound effect on our community, is one of the shared interests. The South Bay Workforce Investment Board serves most of the community in our regions and is responsible for putting our residents back to work through their job training and retention programs. Now, the South Bay Council of Governments is a joint powers authority that represent all the cities within the congressional boundaries. Our communities rely on the South Bay Council of Governments for collaborative development, community development applications when seeking funding at the federal level. If the Commission approves the first draft for the map, our congressional community will be in two different councils of governments, forcing us to compete with one another or the other half for congressional funding. Now, one of the considerations the Commission's had when drafting the maps was to include or to group communities that have shared interests. Now, the communities in the current congressional district definitely have some shared interests that warrant keeping the communities together, the district together. However, as a person that has worked in both the proposed district as well as the current district for many years, I have not seen, unfortunately, any shared interest among the communities on the west portion of the district with those of the communities in the east portion of the district. And for that reason, Madam Chair, I'm requesting that the Commission put Westchester, LAX, Lawndale, Hawthorne, and Gardena into the same congressional district so that we can continue to work in an adhesive fashion. Thank you for your time and your consideration.
Thank you. Speaker number 77.
Good evening. My name is Pat Sanders, and I've been a community activist and a resident of Inglewood for over 30 years. When I look at this map, and could you bring up Inglewood map, I'm really amazed that you would separate the activists that I've worked with on issues with sound mitigation and the damage that, the airports have done to our homes. And I'm talking about activists in Hawthorne, Gardena, El Segundo, Westchester, Lawndale, and Lenox. I bank in Westchester. My daughter went to school in Westchester and Gardena. My optometrist is in Gardena. When you're talking about community of like interest, that's where our services are. We've been together here. And I brought this cane up just to impose on you. What you're doing with this map, if you go forward with this plan, is you're economically crippling Inglewood. When I go on my street, which is 3rd Avenue, and I turn on Manchester, 2 blocks down is the boundaries for LA City. You go down there and you go down to about 4 large streets, you cross Imperial, that's Hawthorne. What does Southgate have to do with our issues? There's nothing that it has to do with it. I'm going to be honest. I haven't been in Southgate since 1969 when the General Motors plant was there. My husband worked there, and I was not living in Inglewood at that time. So let's just keep it real here. I appreciate what you've been done with, but you need to talk to who's ever giving you information. I came here and testified before and spoke really very clearly on what we need to do as to be effective as a community. To move the airport out, that it just doesn't make sense. Southgate, we have no interest, so you're interfering with the Voters' Right Act. And I told you before when I came, that's a very serious thing for me. So you're not letting me elect somebody that's going to take care of my interests. Thank you.
Thank you. Please. Speaker number 78, please.
Good evening. My name is Gloria Gray. I'm a 30-year resident of the city of Inglewood. I am here tonight to implore you to reconsider the maps that you have drawn for the 35th Congressional District. I live in the city of Inglewood, and I'm here representing a number of people who came earlier tonight, block club captains, and I believe those who are here tonight from Inglewood, please stand. But some of them had to leave, but I wanted you to recognize that there are many residents in the city who are very concerned about what you have done in terms of moving Inglewood out of the South Bay area. I have been involved in the community for many years on different issues, and I know that people are very, very concerned. The speaker who spoke before me made a very good point. The cities that you're proposing to include with Inglewood have very little in common, and let me explain why. Inglewood has developed a great relationship with the other South Bay cities. We have developed the kind of relationship where we work together. We have certainly agreed on many projects that have benefited our community. And so to put us with other cities that have less in common because of the fact we have enjoyed the relationship and developed the relationship, those South Bay cities, which include Inglewood, Gardena, Hawthorne, they're multicultural. It includes multi-ethnic interest, and I think that is what is a wealth of it benefits to those folks who are in that congressional district. So I really implore you to please make the change to include to maintain Inglewood in the South Bay corridor. We have a relationship with the LAX airport. We get funding for sound mitigations for the homes, and so we have enjoyed that relationship. So please, I implore you not to change Inglewood and put them in cities that have less in common. Thank you.
Thank you. Speaker number 79.
Hello, everyone. If we can keep actually that map, it would be perfect. My name is Ciris Barrios. I lived in Watts for over 25 years, and I am a current homeowner. I'm a geographer by training. I have a specialization in geographic information systems. I consider myself a socio-political culture geographer, and I lived in Watts. I live in Watts. I work in South LA. I shop in Inglewood. I work out in Hawthorne, and my family actually works at LAX, and I have friends that attend LMU. So these are some of the communities that make the congressional district that right now it's being threatened to being divided. I want us to focus on the proposed Inglewood-Southgate congressional map that's being set up to divide the African American and Latino community by pushing the congressional boundaries east. I can assure you that Watts and Southgate are very distinct communities that don't share common political interests. Our histories are very distinct, as Speaker 35 mentioned. I support Southgate, Huntington Park, Bell, Cudahy, Linwood, and Bell Gardens staying together because they are very similar. As a Watts resident, I know how difficult it can be to engage elected officials that don't understand and that are not connected to our communities. They serve the community that they understand and marginalize the other. The eastern border for this congressional district should be Alameda Boulevard. The district should include Marina del Rey, Westchester, Inglewood, Hawthorne, Gardena, Lawndale, South LA, and Watts, which is the community where I live and that is most connected to the areas that I'm speaking about currently. Okay, 35 seconds. I want to highlight the current map, that the current map takes away very important assets to our community like LAX and Loyola Marymount University. I'm supporting the maps submitted by the African American Redistricting Collaborative that keeps our community united. Thank you for taking our comments into consideration, and we hope that you will adjust your maps to match our cultural, geographic, political identity. Thank you.
Thank you. You got it all in there. Speaker number 80.
Good evening, commissioners and everyone else. My name is Dolores, and I'm a proud resident of the Jefferson Park area. And I understand Los Angeles was very difficult to draw, and I appreciate the hard work this commission has put into this massive project. I agree with Culver City being kept together with View Park, Windsor Hills, and the mid-cities. However, I'm not quite sure why the Westwood area was linked with that community. It's almost the odd man out. And although I'm not advocating change, but just for the commission to consider that our community of interest, when I go to these various areas to do my shopping, or when I'm going out to eat, or running my errands to take care of my business, Westwood is not part of that link. It's not part of my loop that I go into. So it seems a little odd that Westwood is connected to that area. And it's my understanding that when the African American Redistricting Collaborative submitted the maps to the commission, Westwood was not a part of that. So thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Speaker number 81.
And you can leave that same map up there. I'm Carmen Avalos, and I am from the city of Southgate. I am a proud parent of 6 wonderful kids, and I'm here to tell you that the proposed current map for both the congressional, no hard feelings, Pat, I still love you. We love the people out in Inglewood. Sister, we're good. I think it really does disproportionately affect both communities of color, such as the Latino and African American communities. But more specifically, I think that the Senate map, which is LAWSG, has a large impact and very negative impact to our area. I'm still trying to figure out what San Marino has in common with Southgate, one of the wealthiest areas with one of the poorest southeast LA County areas. I do not see that they will be advocating for better schools. They have great schools, whereas in our area we have a 50% dropout rate. Just in my own city, we have 4 school districts, 3 community college districts, 2 area codes. My 6 kids attend 5 different school districts because every child has different needs. So I'm 2 blocks from the city of Downey, 2 blocks from the city of Paramount, 2 blocks from the city of Linwood, and 2 blocks, or actually 1 block away from Bell Gardens. So when we talk about cities of common interest, the city of Southgate being the largest in that area, we share common interests with the Gateway City Council of Governments, which runs along the 710 corridor. We have worked tremendously to form alliances that truly, truly bring federal funding to the areas that we need. Most people have talked about the traffic on the 710 freeway being the trucks. No one is more largely impacted than we are, because we've got the Firestone and Imperial being some of the largest routes that people travel through to get from one side of LA County to the other. The other thing, additionally, is we're not here advocating for any one state, local representative, or even congressional representative. We're here to advocate for the communities that look like us and represent our interests. And our major interests for us are transportation, education, environmental issues, and obviously opportunities for employment and opportunities for to bring in commerce to our area. I thank you. I know that the task ahead of you is very difficult. I would ask you to seriously consider the areas that we've talked about. For the Assembly District, I would ask you to take out Lakewood, include Linwood, and definitely include the City of Commerce. I'm sorry, the City of Maywood.
Thank you. If you want to provide any other details, please do it online. But we have 200 people we need to accommodate here.
I realize that. We did submit a resolution that you should all get a copy of.
Wonderful. Thank you.
So much.
Speaker number 82.
Thank you, Commissioners. My name is Jan Vogel. I'm the Executive Director of the South Bay Workforce Investment Board, consortium of cities in the South Bay. The operational unit, one of the primary operational units of the South Bay Workforce Investment Board, would consist of the cities of Inglewood, Hawthorne, and Lawndale that have worked together, part of the South Bay Workforce Investment Board, for 30 years. In fact, those three cities have worked together for closer to 40 years. And the reason why they work together is because they have so many common interests. People are diverse in those cities, and they share common interests regarding transportation, education, public service, and we've been able to provide job training for those individuals. We have the Inglewood One-Stop Center, which the other cities coalesce around. Thousands and thousands of individuals every month go through the Inglewood One-Stop Center in the South Bay. Inglewood used to be known as the heart of the South Bay. Centinela Valley started in Inglewood. Inglewood has much commonality with those cities, and if you include Gardena in that, that makes up, as was mentioned before, SPA 8, one of 9 special project areas within the county, and the reason why there's one discrete SPA for that area is because of the common interests. So the South Bay separating Inglewood from those other South Bay cities does not seem reasonable. We want to keep the South Bay cities as much as possible together, and particularly those 4 cities share much more in common with any other areas in the county. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Speaker number 83.
Yes, good evening. I'm Gene Starr, and my home is in Rolling Hills Estates. I want to talk about the South Bay and the South Bay district there, the El Segundo on down. The congressional district particularly. We made a submittal to the commission here on earlier in Long Beach, and the result that came out for the congressional district on June the 2nd was really quite what was almost what we had requested. But subsequent to that, what did seem to happen is that we now have added into our congressional district Santa Monica and Venice. I like to say that these particular communities have absolutely nothing in common with the South Bay cities. Well, and by the way, I failed to mention that we are very, very thankful that you have placed the peninsula cities in with the North-South Bay cities of Torrance and Hermosa Beach and etc. What is missing out of the current map is you have removed Hawthorne and also Lawndale. In fact, Lawndale, you heard us said before, they can claim themselves to be the heart of the South Bay. Now, except for the fact that Venice and Santa Monica are on the Pacific coastline, as I said, we have absolutely nothing in common with them. In fact, I very seldom even visited them. On the other hand, thank you very much, most of us who reside in the area do have people that work in the area from Lawndale and also the aerospace people in Hawthorne. I respectfully request that the Commission include Lawndale, Hawthorne, and possibly a portion of Gardena in the South Bay Congressional District as well as the Assembly Districts. And I prepared information for you that I've given to them relative to the population. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I know it's getting late. If we can just hang in there with our patients. Speaker number 83, or 84, excuse me.
Thank you. My name is Camille Feldman, and I reside in the Palos Verdes Peninsula. I'm a 19-year resident there. I've worked for the past 3 years on disaster planning throughout the peninsula, the 4 cities there, Rolling Hills, Palos Verdes Estates, Rancho Palos Verdes, and Rolling Hills Estates. Excuse me. We do feel a natural relationship with the beach cities, and therefore we're very grateful that we are now finally adopted into a community. We were sticking out there all by ourselves in the former congressional district, but now we feel like we have a home and a chance to be represented. But we also feel very connected with Gardena, Lawndale, Hawthorne, and the Harbor Gateway areas. My husband and many of my neighbors work as nurses and physicians and healthcare providers at Kaiser Permanente, which is in the Harbor area in Harbor City. And we get our cars, oh, thank you for putting that up. We have purchased our cars in the Harbor Gateway area and also have them serviced in Harbor Gateway area. We do shopping in and business in the Lawndale area and get our haircuts also in Hawthorne and have orthodontic services there. So these are also natural areas that belong in the beach cities, so much more so we feel than Venice and Santa Monica. It is extremely rare that anybody that I know goes up to the Santa Monica and Venice area if they do not work there, because the traffic is so amazingly bad and it takes you an hour to get there no matter what day of the week. So we just don't consider that part of our natural area. One of the natural areas are the 2 hospitals, Harbor General Hospital, which services such a large group of people and in a disaster would be absolutely necessary, and also Kaiser. So please consider removing Santa Monica and Venice and giving us Harbor Gateway and Gardena. Thank you.
Thank you. Speaker number 85.
Hi. Thank you, Commission, so very much for your hard work. My name is Debbie Berger. I'm a resident of Palos Verdes Estates, and I also would like to talk about this same map, primarily concerned with the 36th Congressional District. Loved the way that you had it drawn first, the map before this, where Santa Monica and Venice were not part of it for the reasons that the 2 speakers before me have talked about. And directly, just to give you a little bit of my own personal experience, my husband's an orthodontist. We have our practice right at the Torrance-Lawndale border, and we draw from all those surrounding areas, Gardena and Lawndale and Hawthorne. And you know, it is a diverse area, and we really appreciate that. And that is our community. That is, you know, where we get our services done. If we're to go, you know, from where we live up north, we don't go to Venice and Santa Monica. And I've heard from them saying, too, they don't want to be with us. So it sounds like it's mutual. Let's see. Oh, and then I guess the other thing is the aerospace industry, which other people have mentioned. We're closely tied by that. So anyway, thank you so much. I know it must be hard to try and please everyone. Can't do it, can you?
Speaker number 86.
Good evening. The same map will do just fine for me also. My name's Lane McNally. I actually live in Gardena, one of those apparently contested areas. My communities of interest are all pretty much west of the Harbor Freeway and south of the 105. That, to me, would make a much more contiguous, compact district to include us with Torrance and the beach cities there. As has already been said, obviously, the northern beach cities don't necessarily want to be part of the southern beach cities. The logistics of transportation through that area are a real mess. Gardena is intact where it is within that area. My kids' schools, scouts, most of the business we do is all in the Gardena and Torrance area for the most part. One concern I had about the districts, the way they're drawn, especially if you start with the Assembly District up in Inglewood and go all the way down into San Pedro, the logistics of any of the people getting together, meeting, discussing, and it's such a long, narrow strip that there's really not a community there. It more or less looks like a trail to the harbor rather than a community. It will dampen communications because of the logistics of getting around, and that's another concern also. The other districts, the state senate and the congressional district, have the same problems. This one is just a little more vivid, if I may say. Wish I could say I'm representing anyone besides myself and my family, but it's just me, regular folks out there. I can't even claim to be the chairperson of my home. I'm sure that would be contested as well. But this is our future for the next 10 years, and we really need to think about how the pieces shake out. And it sounds as though there's a lot of mutual agreement in the room of changes that could be made that everyone would be happy with, and I always like to see everyone happy. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Speaker number 87.
Good evening, commissioners. My name is Chamran Wong, and I'm currently the resident of Signal Hill, but in the last 3 years, I was a resident of Long Beach, where we have the biggest Cambodian communities in the United States. I wanted to bring your attention to a set of maps that could divide some ethnic groups and cultural partnerships that have existed and solved differences for many years and are continuing to strengthen as I speak. I am talking about the cultural ties that bind the communities of Long Beach, Carson, and Compton in particular. I'm sure that you all remember the many members of various ethnic coalitions and cultural heritage groups that come before you at the Long Beach hearing in April. These ethnic coalitions have been formed regionally, and they meet regularly to solve problems or empower themselves as a community. We saw that with some extraordinary community efforts during the Samoan Islands tsunami in September 2009, the monsoon that overlooked the Philippine island in August 2009, and other disasters during which Carson and the surrounding cities became the meeting place and focal points of these ethnic communities, and donated over 100 tons of relief supplies as well as relief funds. But these communities also come together for celebrations as well as to help one another during tragedy. Our communities celebrate these and many more cultural expressions, and we have done so together for many years. I ask that you reconsider the maps that were released on June 10 and keep our cultural and ethnic communities of interest together. Thank you.
Thank you. Speaker number 88.
Good evening, commissioners, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Bụi Meng Sieng, a Long Beach resident, and I'm here this evening to represent the Cambodian community, especially the Cambodian senior, which is that 5 of them got to go back home because they've been left home since 3:30 and they can't stand without dinner. So one of my friends took them home. And so the number 90 to 90 to 94, 95, not going to be present. So I come to you to request that the map of the new congressional district replace Compton, Carson, and several otherwise unassociated cities together, and the map that separates Long Beach into a new district next door to Compton and Carson be redrawn. While I applaud the proposed CRC addition of the region that include the Port of Long Beach with the rest of Long Beach. I am disappointed that the Commission has chosen to cut Carson and Compton out of that map. each of which have common business, economic, and family challenges. The 2010 census data showed that Compton, North and Central Long Beach, Carson, and City Signal Hill constitute an affected community of interest. Because of the strong similarity of ethnic makeup, age, demographic, economic challenges, transportation, and public safety issues, etc. For example, Compton is like all of these cities, a majority minority city, meaning that historic racial minority groups make up over 50% of the city population. Historic racial minority make up 83% of each of our Compton, 74% of Carson, 56% of Signal Hill, and 55% of Long Beach.
Thank you very much.
I urge you, please reconsider this map. Thank you.
Thank you. Speaker number 89.
Good evening, Commissioner, ladies and gentlemen. I am here with you tonight because of, first of all, I would like to agree and support my two compatriots that give the speech to you. I support whatever they said. I myself, I would like to talk to you a little bit about the Cambodian community. My name is Pansi Pieng. I am the survivor from the genocide in 1975 to 79. And also, I am the only survivor from my entire family. And I was the refugee here in the United States. Actually, I'm living in Signal Hill, and I used to be in Long Beach too. So I would like to represent myself as the Cambodian community as whole. And I have three things that I would like to ask you. First of all is the expression about the feeling, the evacuation from our home to the countryside. We have that experience. It's very hard. And now I would like to ask you to keep Cambodian community living together wherever they were. Keep the Cambodian community living under or with our representative, and I know that you know who she is, because we feel to have the confidence with her already. Please keep Long Beach and Signal Hill be together. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And as the prior speaker said, I think 90 had to leave. And I think she said through 95. Is there anybody between 90 or 95? Are you speaker number 95?
94.
94, okay. Oh, I'm sorry. Purple, not white, purple. You have purple? Oh, I'm sorry, okay.
This is what I get for having some conversations. My name is Horacio Arroyo. Thank you for allowing us to participate in this hearing. I want to thank the Commission for working hard on these first drafts, and my organization and many others, like some of the ones you've heard today from NALEO, MALDEF, the Asian Pacific Legal Center, and Community Coalition, we all care about this very closely. And some of the feedback that I can give into the creation of these maps is that I feel like it doesn't really do enough justice to our Latino communities, who are, like we've all been saying, largely responsible for the growth of this state. And that growth doesn't just come with population; it comes with economic growth. We believe that we should support lines that that give more priority to districts under Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act. That would give us a few more assembly districts that would give us at least a couple more state Senate districts and at least preserve the congressional districts here in Southern California. I work and live in Pico Union around the Chinatown downtown area. And there's a congressional district that lines that I found a little shocking. The one right on top of that one, there's a congressional district line that goes from the 101 and the 110 all the way to Pacific Palisades. And that one. This is where I live and I work, and I don't think that this map has been drawn correctly. There's almost nothing that holds us that we have anything in common. On the right side, we have people that are low income, people of color, working communities that might not have a lot of things in common with people in Beverly Hills, Bel Air, and Pacific Palisades. So I urge you to please redraw that line.
Thank you. Speaker number 92, purple 93, purple 94.
94. Thank you. Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Lou Lamont. I'm a Malibu City Council member. I have written to you before as a member of the Pacific Coast Highway Task Force, and I've reviewed the first draft maps, and I am confused. The crafters of the map of our Assembly District think that we should remain with our Santa Monica neighbors with whom we share a school district as well as many coastal and environmental issues, but not with our traditional neighbors in the Santa Monica Mountains and Valley communities, members of our COG, with whom we share many watershed and traffic corridor issues. The Senate map thinks we do need to be with some of our watershed neighbors and seeks to extend our district all the way to the Kern County line, but not with Santa Monica, who, as I said, we share a school district with. Our congressional district map thinks we need to be part of Ventura County and away from all our traditional West Side neighbors. I have been here over 20 years, and I have seen 2 other redistrictings and the results. It seems to me that the present existing district lines have finally achieved the community of interest criteria that all of us are looking for. One of the things that I've noticed is that at present, our Malibu watershed, the PCH traffic corridor, the combined school district, our combined environmental efforts, as well as our basic public safety issues like fire protection and police, the new proposed district lines do not achieve the same results that we already have and enjoy now. I thought that the primary reason for your existence as a commission in the first place was to better serve the citizens as directed by the people, to take the redistricting power out of the hands of the entrenched political forces and return it to the people, to give Californians the right to choose representatives that would be best able to serve our interest. To paraphrase that old adage, we ain't broke, please don't fix us. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Speaker number 95.
Good evening. My name is Laura Rosenthal, and I am the Malibu Mayor Pro Tem of the City of Malibu. I've also given you a letter from me, 14 copies, but tonight I will be reading a letter from the Las Virgenes Homeowners Federation, which is comprised of 25 homeowner associations. We commend your efforts on the boundaries of the 2 assembly districts denoted as Westside Santa Monica and Thousand Oaks Santa Monica Mountains. These 2 districts together encompass historical communities of interest and meet the criteria set forth by the Commission. They are contiguous and represent the greater Santa Monica Mountains, Santa Monica Bay, and the natural communities embedded within, from the Westside Cities COG to the Las Virgenes Malibu COG of the Santa Monica Mountains. These boundaries respect municipal lines and the Los Angeles County unincorporated areas that have mutual and interconnected relations in socioeconomic, environmental, transportation infrastructure, cultural, and educational interests. They are also geographically succinct and have a compact shape well defined by the Santa Monica Mountains, the Santa Monica Bay, and the major transportation corridors. Unfortunately, while these two assembly districts represent great practical boundaries for a Senate district and fit the bill perfectly for nesting two assembly districts within one Senate district, the Commission has not done so. This northern assembly district is linked to the Thousand Oaks Santa Monica Mountains Assembly District by a narrow LA City corridor and has virtually no common relationship with the communities of the Santa Monica Bay and Mountains. The city of Santa Clarita and communities of the two Santa Monica Mountains Bay Assembly Districts both consider this an awkward and unmanageable Senate district configuration. So with all due respect, we hope that you revisit this Senate district. Thank you.
Thank you. Speaker number 96.
Michael Benbow, Chairman of Parking and Traffic for the City of Inglewood. Basically, I'm here to talk about in the 35th Congressional District, please. Basically, I'm here to talk about the 35th Congressional District. And we are situated as the northern part of that district right now. And we've excluded some very important communities in that district, El Segundo and Westchester. We're closely related to the airport. And a lot of our problems and solutions to our problems deal with the airport. Century Boulevard runs right through Inglewood and goes right into the airport. We've had mitigation for pollution and stuff like that for our homes and the safety of our kids, all having to do with the airport. Our solutions with jobs and for our transportations with the light rail line coming through the city and going up to the airport. All these things have something to do with the communities around us. Also, we have problems there that we have related to our neighbors, and we have coalitions already working as far as health is concerned. We had two viable hospitals there, Centinela and Daniel Freeman. Now we have one, and we have other hospitals around us breaking down. But we have coalitions already in the works to build these areas back up, and we need these coalitions. You can't break us up like that. We are working on these problems right now. So we need that. Also, our water district is right there. You're trying to break that up also. All this is about the economic development for that community and these communities surrounding us. We need those people in there to help. We need to be able to fight and present a good cause as to why we need all these communities working together so we can get to where we need to go. Thank you.
Thank you. Speaker number 97.
Hi, how are you doing, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Ramon Brown, and I am a resident of Long Beach. I'm here because I am very concerned about the dissolution of some school districts and elected representative partnerships that appears to be happening with the first set of new maps. I am most concerned about this problem at the federal, that is the congressional level, related to the cities of Carson, Compton, and Long Beach and their respective schools. These partnerships are very crucial. For example, 70% of Carson residents are high school graduates. They share interest in working to improve the 48% rate that's in Compton, especially since all Carson teens residing north of Victoria Street, which is about 10% of the population, are assigned to Compton Unified School District. 100% of Signal Hill residents' children in Long Beach Unified School District students, they share interest also in working to improve the schools that's within the Long Beach's residents. These students in North Carson that attend Compton Unified Schools are a part of this partnership as well, which extends to a third district, which means 3 districts are in partnership. Mr. Felton Williams of Long Beach Unified School District testified at your hearing on April 27th in Long Beach that those partnerships already exist. And he said that they are very, very strong. Commissioner Blanco spoke at the Santa Rosa hearing last month, and address the importance of input from local experts like Mr. Williams. And she said, quote, "I've had a little bit of concern about what we're going to do in the next round of hearings after the release of the first maps. And so I would like us to think about how in that second round, when people react to the maps, we reach out to folks that have facts about particular regions or cities, like regional planning agencies or wider districts, people that have a sense of what are the economic and social characteristics of a particular city, county, or geographic region," end quote.
Thank you, sir. I'm sorry, we have to accommodate other people. We certainly appreciate it. If you'd like to provide it in writing, we'll accept it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for cooperation. Speaker number 98.
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Sheila Mickelson, and I'm a resident of Westchester. I've resided in Westchester for over 20-plus years, and I'm honored to share with you that I have been involved in my community from helping to form the Neighborhood Council, where I served 2 terms back in 2004-2005. I also am a founding principal and former board member of Westchester Streetscape Improvement Association, which is dedicated to the improvement of our community through streetscape beautification. And if you ever have had the opportunity to travel down Sepulveda Boulevard and go north, our business district is being revitalized through this incredible streetscape project that my neighbors and other organizations in Westchester have designed and worked with the City of Los Angeles and other organizations to implement. But first, I would like to address 2 issues tonight, and that is CD 36 and CD 35. I'm honored to share with you that Westchester is the home of the largest economic employer in the city of Los Angeles and the Southern California region, and that is LAX Airport. As the home of LAX, my community has many assets that we share with our neighboring communities of interest in terms of the airport. That's our schools, Loyola Marymount University, our business district, and many, many other viable socioeconomic advantages that we have to offer. I stand before you in opposition to the plans that are being introduced in your draft maps. Westchester is not a beach cities community. We are not a community of interest with this district. I have concerns that you are taking the airport and splitting it off from communities of interest, that you are taking away communities of interest that share social, economic, and ethnic interests. I appeal to you to please reconsider your maps and to reconsider drawing the 35th Congressional District and move it west for opportunity.
Thank you very much. Speaker number 99.
Good evening, Honorable Commissioners. My name is David Sforza, and I'm from the West San Fernando Valley. As someone who's active in my community, graduated from a high school in the West San Fernando Valley, UC Santa Barbara, and is currently in law school, I am very interested in the redistricting of my area of the West San Fernando Valley. I'm here today to thank you for your draft maps and to encourage you to make a few changes. The reason I was compelled to put together the suggested changes that I have delivered to you today, because your congressional plan divides 8 of our neighborhoods to my count. I particularly note that you've split in half the neighborhoods of Reseda, as well as dividing the neighborhoods of Sherman Oaks, as other people here today have testified. The neighborhoods in the San Fernando Valley are the way we identify ourselves as a community of interest. When I went off to UC Santa Barbara and people asked me where I was from and I responded, I'm from the Valley, they immediately asked me, where? And as a response, I always said, I'm from North Hills. It's always been the identifying mark that has unified us. And these communities that you have divided in the West San Fernando Valley are communities that share same schools and same identities. My proposal reduces the number of splits in the San Fernando Valley from 8 to 4. It unifies Reseda, Northridge, North Hollywood, Sherman Oaks, Van Nuys, and Valley Glen. I did this all while managing to increase the citizen voting age population of East Valley District you call SFVET from 49% to over 51%. This plan only requires that you rebalance the population within the San Fernando Valley. There are no ripple effects throughout the state. This map that I present today makes clear that the Valley neighborhoods can be unified without hurting your other goals. With so much riding on your work, please consider this map and properly recognize the unique communities of interest in the San Fernando Valley. Thank you.
Thank you. Speaker 100.
She's got copies, and you guys are going to want to see numbers on that. Okay. To review, Robert Neff from Culver City. I gave you a split option for the west side, trying to keep it in chunks rather than to slice it up. The west side is too large. And so it needs to be in different groupings or sections in order to be used in other places. And this is the generic breakdown, and ranges between 200 and 250,000 people, and it can be used different ways. What you did was, and I'm using this for congressional, but it can be this argument can be used for the other districts as well. You took the Pacific Palisades, you went in through the mountains, you came back down for Beverly Hills and West Hollywood, and you went to downtown sections of Los Angeles. And you created a finger that went into Westwood for another district. And I've redone these lines. I've done it on Maptitude, and you'll see on the second page the CVAP numbers before and after, as well as the populations. Show me the larger one, the southern one, or the larger one. You can see the south section of the west side was joined together and sent to the Peninsula district that you've created and you're really sticking with. Santa Monica is now joined back with the Pacific Palisades and Malibu and Brentwood and sent to where you were sending Malibu out to Ventura. The Westwood Finger was joined back to Westwood and Century City and Cheviot Hills and so on, back with West Hollywood and Beverly Hills. Their downtown part was given to the CRS, the lower district down there. And that actually makes it more serviceable to the African American community. To get the balance of population, we went over the hill where oftentimes districts have been drawn, city council districts, even school boards districts over the years. That's where you go over the mountains at that point. The districts further to the north were all balanced out because of the pushing population. I took the foot of the East Valley district and gave it to the regular district and moved north in order to get the numbers back.
Thank you very much, Mr. Neff. Did you provide these details to our line drawers?
I have a equivalency file. And
Wonderful.
And you've got the statistics on the back.
Thank you. I did see that. We got that. Speaker number 101. 102. Purple. 102.
Hi, I'm Leslie Gersikoff. I'm a Jewish community professional from the Fairfax area. I'm here today to present testimony on the Mid-City West area community making up Beverly Hills, Westwood, Fairfax, Pico Robertson, Hancock Park, and Beverlywood. I don't claim to speak on behalf of any of the organizations I'm about to mention, but their location and service area clearly shows a community of interest that this commission did not recognize in drafting the first round of maps. Since the 60s, this area has made up the core of the Jewish community. We have over 25 synagogues in this area. The Jewish Federation is located on the north side of Wilshire, just off La Cienega, along with over 15 Jewish communal organizations in the area, ranging from Jewish Labor Committee on 3rd and Flores, the National Council of Jewish Women on Fairfax, just north of Cantors, the American Jewish Committee located on Pico and Rexford, the Simon Wiesenthal Center in Pico Robertson, the Anti-Defamation League in Westwood just across from Century City, and the Skirball Museum at Mulholland and Sepulveda. I'm going to skip a little bit. You do have this in your packets. I recognize that religious affiliations may not be a factor the way other classes may be, but there is clear community of interest that exists linking Westwood, Beverly Hills, Pico Robertson, Beverlywood, Hancock Park, Beverly Fairfax, Beverly Hills, and even Bel Air. The proposed district maps dilutes this community of interest by adding in neighborhoods that are not really connected to these areas. Coastal communities such as Venice, Marina del Rey, Westchester, and even Santa Monica don't have the same character, demographics, or resources as communities east of the 405. Just like the Asian communities such as Thai Town and Koreatown have a distinct and different character, demographics, profile, and resources. Yet there are other distinct Jewish communities in Los Angeles. The Valley has its own distinct synagogues, organizations, and resources, as does portions of Pacific Palisades and Brentwood. But the Valley is very different from the Mid-City West region and distinct and separate from the core of communities I described. Traffic patterns, different demographics, geography, such as the Hollywood Hills. So thank you.
Thank you. Speaker number 103.
Did you bring up the Inglewood Southgate proposed congressional? Good evening. My name is James T. Butts, and I'm the mayor of the city of Inglewood, a city of 117,000 residents. Inglewood is one of several cities in the South Bay Council of Governments, all of whom have developed extremely important working relationships. I thank the Commission for your dedication and hard work. However, the Commission's first draft breaks apart important economic, social, and educational relationships built between the South Bay cities, particularly Inglewood, Westchester, Hawthorne, Gardena, and Lawndale. These 5 cities are placed in 3 separate congressional districts. The first draft severs many important and symbiotic relationships. For instance, Los Angeles International Airport is an economic engine for the South Bay and one of the region's largest employers of African Americans. We partnered for decades in holding the Los Angeles World Airport System accountable in the areas of noise reduction, runway placement, and safety issues involving LAX. The city of Inglewood is responsible for 2 of the major entry corridors to the airport, Manchester and Century Boulevards. We have spent significant resources, including federal stimulus, redevelopment, and transportation fund dollars to improve these corridors. A $33 million street improvement project for Century Boulevard is in the engineering phase at this very moment. It contains both street and traffic signal phasing improvements that will be coordinated with our adjacent cities to provide first-class transportation access to LAX. Many of our residents in the South Bay are employed at LAX or by industry directly related to or dependent upon Los Angeles International. Additionally, the South Bay Workforce Investment Board in Hawthorne serves all of the cities in the South Bay. Loyola Marymount University in Westchester has done important work with underserved schools throughout our area. Their programs provide college readiness and teacher training programs. The map is constituted would divide our communities and connect Inglewood with areas as far east as the city of Southgate. This is not good for the economy of our area or for cohesive and effective congressional representation in the South Bay. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Speaker number 104.
Good evening. I'm George Dotson. I'm chairman of the Planning Commission in the city of Inglewood. I just want to share a little history with you, and I agree with everything that the mayor had to say. I also volunteer as a committee member in the city of Inglewood. I've chaired the Martin Luther King Parade in this city. We were the first city in the western region of this country to have such a parade. Our parade is made up of citizens of all around the South Bay area. It is an event that we plan together as we salute the life and times of Martin Luther King. This is typical of the corporation we have in the South Bay area. We have nothing in common with Southgate and are not connected in any way, except for by being in the same county. I'm concerned about the signal that this commission is sending to the African American community with these maps that you have drafted. Please recognize the shared community interests of the South Bay cities, and please keep the South Bay cities together. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Speaker number 105. Okay, if there's a speaker 106 and 107, please come forward so we can speed things along.
Hi, my name is Garrett Maynard, and I live in the Wrigley area of Long Beach.
and my neighbors live in the cities of Carson, Compton, Long Beach, Signal Hill, and the Watts-Willowbrook area. I stand before you tonight to share my thoughts regarding the development of CRC map lines for LBPRT. I request that the previous cities of Carson, Compton, and Long Beach stay connected. The ports of Long Beach and Los Angeles are listed as one port, the San Pedro Complex. Over 40% of U.S. cargo passes through these cities over Highway 47, the 110, 710, and 405 freeways, from the ports of Long Beach and Los Angeles. The traffic, air quality, and related challenges of the ports make congressional representatives busy to balance quality of life with quantity of goods. We have always been linked, and we need to have congressional representation to advocate for us with a focus on our neighborhoods. Being on committees like Transportation and Infrastructure also make a difference in legislation. I'd like it to be known that while it was great that you guys included Long Beach with the port, you guys excluded other people who are directly affected by the port, including Compton, Carson, the Compton-Carson area. So we'd like to see those people who are also affected by those corridors to be included in the congressional district representing Long Beach. Thank you.
Thank you. Speaker number 106.
Good evening. I want to speak. I'm from Carson, the 37th Congressional, and I see that when we met with you in Long Beach, you did not go by what we requested in going into the port. And so what you're doing, you're putting us into Gardena and Lawndale, which there's no relation and there's no revenue. So what you're taking a lot from Carson when you put us into Gardena, into Lawndale. You could have maybe consider going into Wilmington and Catalina to bring us into the numbers that we would need. But taking us out of Compton, it's like a relationship that we have had all these years, and it really does bring in the Alameda Corridor. But taking us into Gardena, what do we get? You're taking from us, and you're giving us nothing. And that's not to put down Gardena and Lawndale, but in Carson, we're related to Long Beach, Compton, Long Beach, Compton, and Carson. If you take us into a portion of Torrance, I think we have a small portion of Torrance in the 37th. But putting us into Gardena and Lawndale is scary, to tell you the truth. We have the 405 freeway in Carson. I'm close to it. It would take you about 5 to 10 minutes almost to get to any freeway. The 710, the 405, the 110, the 605 minutes. The 110 and the 405. So we're requesting you to keep us in the 37th Congressional District. That's bringing the revenue also. We have the industrial companies that's there, like Watson Land, Carson & Company, all of those. They are not coming into Gardena. Now, why is that? We really need an answer. So I'm requesting you to reconsider, go into Wilmington and Catalina to bring in those extra numbers that you will need to complete what we need in the 37th Congressional, and not take us into Gardena and Lawndale. Would you please consider that?
Thank you. Speaker number purple 107. We're moving on to white number 1, white number 2, and then if white 3, 4, 5, 6 could come forward in these reserved front seats, that would be great.
Good evening. My name is Linda Goodman. I live in the West Valley, San Fernando Valley community of Reseda, where I have been a resident and homeowner since 1986. I first want to thank you for your whole hard work. You heard much testimony about how the Valley had been disenfranchised in the past, with much of our population being lumped in with districts that were not Valley-based, causing these people to often be overlooked by the representatives. You've done a much better job at representing the Valley, and for that I thank you. I must speak today about my community of Reseda, located in the West San Fernando Valley. Reseda is the hub of the West Valley, as others have mentioned earlier. If you look at a map, you will be able to see that Reseda is right in the center of the West Valley. Please respect Reseda and its residents. We're a community with a population of almost 70,000, and those of us who live there proudly call ourselves West Valley citizens. What you've done is split us right down the middle, and I respectfully ask that you unify Reseda. I know that you've been tasked with keeping cities together, but the city of Los Angeles has almost 4 million people, and we are better defined as residents of the smaller, closer-knit communities that we call home. You kept the entire city of Beverly Hills together, a city of approximately 34,000 residents, which is less than the population of many San Fernando Valley communities. Likewise, you should be able to keep the communities of the Valley intact as well. We realize that in order to do this,
Thank you. I'm sorry, we have to move on. We're really going to have to skip people. Speaker number 3, white 3, white 4. You're number 5? 4.
Hi.
Oh, thank you.
Hi, Lori Erlinson. I live in Westchester. And I was born in Los Angeles, lived here all my life, grew up in West LA, and been in Westchester for 43 years. Thank you for doing this incredible work. It's an amazingly difficult task. I want to talk about the fact that our congressional district, Westchester is not a beach city, and being with the coastal strip just does not make sense for us. Many people who here have said it far better than I am, and we really, our core of interest is, although I, shop and entertainment and have friends throughout Westchester and up the coast and down the coast and in West LA. What's important to me is around my home and where I vote and the things that I'm going to have an influence on. I'm part of the Westchester Streetscape Community, Westchester Streetscape Improvement Association, and I know they've worked through with Inglewood for the Century Boulevard, and they're doing more work through that and the Lincoln Boulevard improvement. And but we have a diverse community, and we also have connected with a remarkably diverse community in Inglewood, Glendale, specifically, I'm dry after sitting here, on airport issues, education issues, Inglewood's, El Segundo, Hawthorne, all the areas east of us that have worked on these issues for so long. The university at Loyola Marymount has done wonderful things with all of our local schools throughout those communities, and those are areas of interest. We've worked together in a remarkably wonderful way with this hugely diverse cultural, ethnic, racial community, and I'd like us to continue to be part of that. Thank you.
Thank you. Number 5.
My name is Reverend Jewett Walker, Associate Minister at True Vine Baptist Church in the city of Inglewood. I am also Treasurer of the Inglewood Area Ministers Association, an association of more than 75 churches and 35 business partners. We work with various nonprofits and churches in the South Bay area, Inglewood, Hawthorne, Lenox, Lawndale, and the city of Gardena, as well as Westchester in the airport area. Many of our members deal with social service agencies and provide services for members of the community who reside in those areas. We work with elected officials who represent those areas, and it is our feeling that it is necessary to have a common representative that we can go to in working to solve problems related to the contiguous communities that I've already mentioned. Inglewood, South Bay area, Westchester community is one that is currently served by Congresswoman Maxine Waters. But that notwithstanding, there are many partnerships that have been formed to serve that community that need to be left intact. You've heard from individuals who have lived in the southeast area who have asked you to keep that area intact. We don't disagree on that. We feel that it is necessary that the South Bay be left intact and that the Southeast be left intact to keep the partnerships we have in place. Thank you.
Thank you. Number 6.
Good evening. My name is Wanda Brown, and I'm a 35-year citizen of Inglewood. I'm concerned because it appears the Commission has diminished the African-American long-term influence in the congressional district in southern Los Angeles County. For example, in drawing your Inglewood-Southgate district, you ignored your community of interest criteria by connecting a South Bay city, Inglewood, with an inland city, Southgate. These communities have little in common and rely on different social, educational, and economic resources that has been iterated by earlier speakers. The lines as drawn do not reflect the wishes of the residents of South Los Angeles County and do not follow the guidelines set up by this committee. I join with the dozens of other witnesses here who ask you to respect the African American community and change the lines to preserve the continuity of our congressional district. By splitting our district with cities like Bell and Cray and other cities do not remotely relate to the Inglewood congressional districts and is an injustice to Inglewood. So in summary, in connecting Inglewood to Southgate is awkward and a disconnect from neighboring cities with similar issues. I request keep Inglewood, Hawthorne, Lawndale, Westchester, Gardena, and or El Segundo together to preserve the continuity of the South Bay cities. Thank you.
Thank you.